starting gun.
To their knees, you hear the softly spoken by